So I'm Tyler. So I grew up in a Christian household. Never really, I was kind of forced into it and never really made it my own and really accepted Christ for myself. And as I got older and got into high school and sports and everything, I just kind of, my parents kind of let up on that and didn't really know God, didn't really go to church, I was at a school that didn't allow FCA or any affiliations with Christ into the school. In my college years, I kind of declined and got into some stuff that put me in bad situations. By the end of my sophomore year, I had my first panic attack, and I was in Las Vegas with my baseball team. Just felt very weird when we got off the bus and we were walking in to go get dinner after practice, and just my whole body seized up and I started hyperventilating and didn't really know what was going on. And the ambulance came and the doctor or the EMT person was just like, "Yeah, I think you're having a panic attack." I didn't believe that was just a panic attack. I thought I was dying, and that was my first experience with God. And I went home instead of following up on that feeling and that acceptance of God. I started to self-medicate, and I realized that I thought I wouldn't be anxious if I drank, and I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't feel anything, then I couldn't be anxious. I just felt empty and I felt broken, and I looked in the mirror and I just hated what I saw. I hated what I had become. A video popped up on my Facebook, an I Am Second video of one of my favorite athletes that he was speaking on a lot of the similar things that I was dealing with, and what Christ did for him. And I just made that decision that day that I don't know who God is, and I don't really know who this Jesus guy is. I hear about him all the time, but I don't know what he does. And called my dad and accepted Christ that day. And so I accepted Christ and left Oregon State and went to a Christian school in Kentucky to play baseball and pursue God. And I totally thought that being a Christian was going to be like an easy thing, and like as soon as I accept Christ, like all my problems would go away. And that didn't happen at all. I stopped drinking and I started going to church, and finally had a community around me. Started getting built up in that sense, but I was also still in this toxic relationship, and I actually moved closer to her. And when I became a Christian, there were just values that I had now that I didn't have before. And I'd been with this girl since high school, about 4 years or so, and I was driving to break up with her, and I had a panic attack, and again after a year and a half of not having any panic attacks. And same thing, I just started having panic attacks over and over and over again. Couldn't eat, and I laid in my bed that night and I just prayed to God, and this is the first time that my anxiety actually brought me closer to God. And I was praying to God, and I said, "God, for however long you need to do this to me, for you to stick in my life and for me to follow you, let it be done." And there has been a lot of times that I regret that prayer, but then he reminds me how important that prayer was, because I didn't really know what I was signing up for. And I thought, all right, maybe 3 months, 4 months tops, I'm gonna have this anxiety stuff, and I'm just gonna go after God with my whole heart, and my anxiety will go away, because that's who God is. He's a loving guy, right? And that was 3 years ago, and I still deal with anxiety every single day. I can get very frustrated with that. You look back, and I realize that all my closest moments with God has been in the middle of panic attacks. And that's because I had no other option but to turn to God and allow him to take that problem and that issue in my life and let him fight that battle. And something I was told by my grandpa as I was going through all this stuff, there are so many battles that we try to fight as humans that were never meant for us to begin with. And anxiety and fear and depression and are just some of those battles that God never intended us to fight. I don't remember where in the Bible it said it, but he tells Jehoshaphat to stand still and watch what I'll do. You don't have to fight this huge enemy coming to fight him, and he just told him, stand still and I'll fight this battle for you. Watch what I can do. I'm a lot better than I was. I don't think that's any credit to my own. I think that's God shifting my heart and shifting my mind to him. And when the anxiety comes in is when I'm trying to fight the anxiety, and then the anxiety leaves when I finally fall on my knees and let God take care of it. And for me, that it comes in every day. It can come in different waves and different strengths and stuff, and it can last for 5 minutes. It can last the whole day. It can make me physically nauseous. It can make me not eat. I can confidently say that, like, because of my anxiety, because of the struggles I go through, it has brought me so much closer to God and made me trust him even more, that even if this anxiety is going to last the rest of my life, God can still use me and can still use all of us. The first 6 months in Wilsonville, I couldn't leave the house. And I was just sitting in my parents' house and thinking, what am I going to do with my life if this is forever? And God just told me, even if this is it, I can use you. And that gave me purpose in life. Worship is so big for me. I love music, and worship music changed my life. As I've grown, I've realized there's so many different ways of worship, and really it's just submitting and surrendering to God. There's been so many times just sitting, bawling, crying, frustrated, scared, feeling neglected even by God's unanswered prayers. It took so long for me to realize that I was not trusting. I was praying, I was opening the Bible, I was listening to worship music, but I had this voice in the back of my head saying, oh, that's all good. Like, you're doing everything right, but you don't really believe God's going to do this. You don't really believe God's going to show up. I kind of realized that it was just a pride thing. I felt like as a man, as a 24-year-old adult, I need to be able to handle problems in my life. I need to fix this. I need to do this. And I realized it was so much of this I talk. I, me. And then realizing how prideful and foolish that was of me to think that way. Because I had all the tools at my disposal, and I had God right there. He never left me. But it was really actually fully submitting and obeying God and worshiping him in that way brought me so much peace and brought me a new perspective in life and brought the walls down that were around my heart. I think I was scared of rejection, scared that God would see me and see me in my pain and not care. And that was the enemy, and that was me speaking those things, and knowing that if I submit and I obey and I worship in the middle of God on silence, God on airplane mode, or whatever you want to call it, he is not distant. And my plan is, God, heal me so I can do things for your kingdom. But God's sitting there saying, yeah, I could do that, and I could work with that, but I have something better than that. And you're in a struggle for a while, and that struggle will help you build relationships, help you learn things that you wouldn't realize if life was just great all the time and easy. And he helps me in my failure too. When anxiety gets the best of me and I can't go to things, or I have to leave an event or leave work or whatever and go home because I can't figure it out. There's a lot of shame in that for me personally, but God shows up every single time and says, there's no shame here. I love you, and I'm not ever going to leave you. And there's no amount of times that you doubt me or you turn your back on me that's going to make me stop loving you and stop coming after you. And that was when I realized that God wasn't going to stop coming after me. I realized I can never stop going after him.